Welcome to this edition of Viewpoint on Mormonism. I'm your host, Bill McKeever, the founder and director of Mormonism Research Ministry. As many of you are probably already aware, Thomas S. Monson, the 16th president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, passed away on January 2nd, 2018. He was 90 years old, and he had been suffering from some health issues, so this did not come as a complete surprise by any stretch of the imagination. But naturally, when a president of the Mormon Church passes away, there's going to be a shift in leadership. And a lot of people ask us, well, what takes place now within the structure of Mormonism? How does the Mormon Church choose a new leader? Now, I will say this up front. The method that the Mormon Church uses to choose a new leader is not at all a structure that is found in the Bible. So even though the Mormon Church might claim that it is a restoration of the way things were done in the early Christian church, you would be hard-pressed to find any historical evidence whatsoever to support what the Mormon Church is going to do in order to choose a successor to Thomas Spencer Monson. Now, if you were to go to the LDS Newsroom, this is an official website of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, they have an article titled Succession in the Presidency of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It starts off by saying this: the highest-ranking governing body in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the First Presidency, consisting of the president and his two counselors or advisors. This three-man body supervises the work of the entire church in all matters of policy, organization, and administration. What this is telling us is that the top three men within this first presidency have more authority in the Mormon Church than any other person within its ranks. Even the second highest presiding body, which is known as the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. Now, certainly the apostles have a lot of authority, but it's the president, the prophet, seer, and revelator of the Mormon Church who has all authority over the Mormon Church. So when you hear a Latter-day Saint, for instance, say that he disagrees with something that the president of the church may have said or written, that individual in the Mormon Church certainly does not have the priesthood authority within Mormonism to correct that leader. They are much lower on the proverbial authoritative totem pole, and certainly their opinion means absolutely nothing within the grand scheme of things within Mormonism. But what happens now? Thomas S. Monson has passed away, so there's going to be a shift in the leadership. Well, this article lays it out as to what is going to happen. And again, I want to remind you, what I'm about to read to you is nothing that is found in the New Testament. So to say that the structure of Mormonism, the way the leadership is determined, certainly cannot be supported by any historical data, certainly not by the New Testament. This is what it says: when the president of the church passes away, the following events take place. Number one, the first presidency is automatically dissolved. And then in point number 2, it explains what that means. It says the two counselors in the first presidency revert to their places of seniority in the quorum of the 12 apostles. Seniority is determined by the date on which a person was ordained to the 12, not by age. So it doesn't matter whether or not the senior member in the Council of the 12 is younger than someone else that is within the 12 apostles or the Quorum of the 12. It goes by seniority. Now, certainly we could never find anywhere in the New Testament any support for such a notion. Point number 3 says, the Quorum of the 12 apostles, now numbering 14 and headed by the senior apostle, assumes church leadership. So whoever held the position of an apostle in the Mormon Church for the longest period of time automatically assumes church leadership. Number 4 says the senior apostle then presides at a meeting of the Quorum of the 12 to consider two alternative propositions. One, should the first presidency be reorganized at this time, Or 2, should the church continue to function with the quorum of the 12 presiding? Number 5 says, after discussion, a formal motion is made and accepted by the quorum of the 12 apostles. 6, if a motion to recognize the first presidency is passed, the quorum of the 12 unanimously selects the new president of the church. The new president chooses 2 counselors, and the 3 of them become the new first presidency. So whereas Thomas S. Monson had as his counselors Henry B. Eyring and Dieter F. Uchtdorf, the next president who is chosen, which is going to be Russell M. Nelson, he can either retain those 2 individuals to stay within his first presidency, or he can choose someone else entirely. It's completely up to him. Now, point number 6 in this article says, throughout the history of the church, the longest serving apostle has always become the president of the church when the first presidency has been reorganized. That's why it's pretty much a foregone conclusion when a leader passes away. It's pretty much already known who's going to be the next leader. Of course, it's based on who has been a member of the quorum of the 12 for the longest period of time. Point number 7 in this article says, following the reorganization of the first presidency, the apostle who has served the second longest is sustained as the president of the quorum of the 12. When the second longest serving apostle has also been called into the first presidency as a counselor, the third longest serving apostle becomes acting president of the 12. So it's all about seniority. If, let's say, the person who is next in line would be called to be a part of the first presidency, the person that follows him in seniority would then become the president of the quorum of the 12. It's pretty much a well-oiled machine. However, I don't think I can state enough that the methodology of choosing a new leader in the Mormon Church is not based on the Bible at all. You will not find anything to support any of these things that I'm reading to you. Point number 8 in this article says, the president of the quorum of the 12, along with the rest of the apostles, sets apart the new president of the church through a formal laying on of hands. Now that's one thing that you do find in the New Testament, that there is a laying on of hands of individuals, usually when they were commissioned to go on a mission of some sort. It goes on to say, since the church was formally organized on the 6th of April, 1830, there have been 16 presidents, including President Thomas S. Monson, who just passed away last week. So this is the way it's going to happen. Now, as I mentioned, Russell M. Nelson is going to be the 17th president of the Mormon Church. And a lot of people have asked me, well, when he becomes president, can we expect any revolutionary change within the Mormon Church? I personally don't think so, although I would say that Russell M. Nelson is pretty much a traditionalist when it comes to Mormon theology. What I mean by that is I don't see Russell M. Nelson making any radical course corrections that are going to undermine a lot of the unique teachings of Mormonism that have historically set it apart from the rest of Christianity. I know this because of the things that he has taught in General Conference and things that he has written, as well as comments that he has made in other venues that probably wouldn't be considered an official venue. Now, let me say this, though. There were some a while back that were hoping that the Mormon Church would change some of its teachings. One in particular that I'm thinking about is this doctrine of eternal polygamy. This doctrine has certainly caused a lot of heartache for many Latter-day Saint women. And what I mean by this is that eternal polygamy is the idea that a Mormon male who is sealed to a woman in a temple for time and eternity, should that wife die, can marry another woman, and if she has not been sealed for time and eternity to another Mormon male, he can be sealed to her for time and eternity as well. Russell M. Nelson is one of those leaders who has done just that. In 1945, he was sealed for time and eternity to Dancel White in the Salt Lake Temple. They had 10 children through that marriage. Dancel passed away unexpectedly on February 12, 2005. Well, on April 6, 2006, Nelson was sealed for time and eternity to Wendy L. Watson. She was a professor of marriage and family therapy at Brigham Young University, but she was not sealed to another male, which made her eligible to be sealed for time and eternity to Russell M. Nelson, which she was. So you can naturally assume that Russell Nelson has every hope of being married both to his first wife, Dancel, and also plans to be married to Wendy L. Watson in eternity also. So this idea that somehow the Mormon Church may get rid of this doctrine of eternal polygamy is pretty unlikely given the fact that Russell M. Nelson is now in charge of the entire church. Now, like I said, Russell Nelson is a traditionalist. He very much believes in the Book of Mormon. He very much believes in all the basic teachings of the LDS Church when it comes to the requirements for becoming exalted or achieving godhood in the next life. And I can only assume that he's going to continue espousing these beliefs as he leads the church from this point forward. Now, Nelson is 93 years old at this time. And surprisingly, he's not the oldest leader to become the president of the Mormon Church. No, that position goes to Joseph Fielding Smith, the 10th president of the Mormon Church, who happened to be about a month or two older than Russell M. Nelson when he became the 10th president. So given the fact that Russell Nelson is 93, there's a good chance that he probably won't be president for too many years, and so we're going to see another transition take place probably in the not-so-distant future. Now, certainly I don't gloat about the death of any Mormon. Certainly it's not a day for me to celebrate, given my beliefs regarding those who believe and teach false doctrine. But certainly I can only hope that a lot of members within the Mormon Church will take a close look at some of the statements that their church leaders have made over the years, compare them with what is found in the New Testament, and hopefully they will come to the conclusion that Russell M. Nelson is not going to be considered a true prophet of God in the biblical sense of the word.